Hey there, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll get going in just a minute, kind of waiting for everyone to file in here. See lots of people coming in, including, yep. All right, good. I think we got lots of folks. All right, good. I think just about everyone's come in. So welcome everyone to today's Renewals workshop. So I'm Ryan Graham, part of the team here with PropFuel. We have a number of other poppies, as we call ourselves at PropFuel, or PropFuel employees on with us as well. So we'll be kind of breaking stuff down in just a couple of minutes, breaking into our breakout rooms to really get going. This is a really extremely hands-on session. So before we do that, I just want to kind of cover a couple of things. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. So a couple of things with regard to what we're doing today. So we're going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to just kind of go through intros, welcome, some stuff like that. We're going to go into breakout rooms for about 90 minutes. I have one ask of everyone in just a moment. And then once we leave here today, we get people's campaigns launched. Then basically folks from our team are going to be following up over the next week or two to go over the results with you, and just basically walk through everything that we see from the campaign, as it'll be running and in a live executing state. My ask is, as I talk for the next 10 minutes or so, if you can write into the chat whether your organization for this campaign is going to be focusing on renewals for individual members or organizational, company members. That's a really critical point because the playbooks that we have for those are pretty different. The process for it is pretty different. And what we want to do is break people into breakout rooms with similar groups. It's kind of clunky if we have half of the people in a breakout room that are focused on individual members and half focused on company members. It makes it it dilutes it a little bit. So thank you for that. All right. A couple of quick expectations for today. So basically, like I said, we're here to build a renewals campaign. When you get into your breakout rooms, like anything, I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff going on and maybe things blowing up in the background, not literally, but figuratively. If you can just stay focused in on what we're doing, knowing there's a lot of stuff going on. Cameras on, if possible, technologically possible. It just helps to kind of engage and see everyone. And this should really be fun. This shouldn't be stressful. This should be fun. A little bit about PropFuel. So if you're not familiar with us, so we have about 260 or so clients. They're all associations. Our association clients span a very wide spectrum in terms of size, vertical, all of that sort of stuff. What we see is associations really want to be able to present a relevant and a highly personalized experience for members. And members are kind of, in a way, seeking out value that is relevant for them. And we use the phrase here a lot that a member's last experience, oftentimes as a consumer, is now their expectation when they come to the association. And that experience is probably with, for better or worse, Amazon or Netflix or something like that, where it's highly personalized. And that becomes kind of the set-in expectation now when they come to you. And there are really two things that kind of hold associations back from being able to do that. One is data. Most associations have a lot of data, interestingly, but in a lot of cases, some of it is outdated, some of it's incomplete. A lot of it lives at a surface level, in terms of it being transactional or behavioral data, which lacks a deeper understanding of members. And at the same time, the tools that associations use to communicate with members oftentimes are very focused on what we would call broadcasting information out to them. So email tools like Informs and Real Magnet and HubSpot, awesome tools. What their focus is to automate campaigns to tell members about stuff. And what that typically turns into is telling all members about everything. So members don't feel like they're getting stuff that is relevant to them. They feel like they're in the trough of what everyone else is getting. So symptoms of that, things that kind of, come from that, are things like, naturally, decline in member retention, slower growth, lack of ability to acquire new members, members who are disengaged or opting out of your communication, or who are telling you, we're getting way too many emails from you guys. If you hear that, that's okay. You're like every association, I would say. The interesting thing about that is That's actually not the real problem in most cases we see with our clients, is that is a symptom of a different problem, which is the members are getting too many emails that are totally irrelevant to them and have nothing that they're interested in. It's not that they're getting too many emails. Members kind of don't mind getting more emails when it's stuff that really is relatable and relevant back to them. The piece that we see that's missing that leads to what we do is the ability to truly listen to a member, to understand the needs, the intentions, the motivations, the intent of a member, not guess at it, because behavioral data allows us to, or forces us to guess at it. You send someone an email and, you look at, did they open the email? Did they click a link? Did they click a series of links? That's all guesswork. What we want to try to do is get much more to definitive data. And so our process for that our platform allows for is this process of ask, capture, act. So basically what we're doing is we are asking members questions primarily over email. We also have an SMS component, text messaging. And later this year, we're going to be introducing a really cool product around website engagement. So extending what we do to the website. So we ask members questions, which allows them to answer in email with a simple 1 or 2 clicks. We capture the insight from that. We're capturing the needs of a member, those different things that they're telling us. And that gives us the ability to take action, not generic action, relevant, individualized, personalized action, where we're doing things like leading them to the next step that would be relevant, or presenting them with content that aligns with what they told us, or maybe curating that data by tagging them in PropFuel, adding them to another campaign, or maybe updating a field inside of your AMS, or adding them to a targeted, segmented campaign inside of your marketing automation system. So there's all these things that we can do. And what we do relates back really well to a lot of different use cases. I'm not going to read all these. You can see them. And this is just, there's more beyond this, but these are some of the use cases that our clients are leveraging PropFuel for. And what I would say is any individual PropFuel client is probably leveraging, I don't know, 4 to, and Ashley, Melissa, Megan, chime in if you think differently on this, is leveraging somewhere around 4 to 6 of these use cases generally at the client level. What we're here obviously today to talk about is member renewals. Sorry, water break. Member renewals. So I'm going to talk talk about member renewals for about 3 minutes. And then if we're good for getting into breakout rooms, then we'll kind of get over there. So the problems with the traditional renewal process today is it's a really slow kind of, laborious process, or much more so than it has to be. Typically, there's a lot of manual steps and a lot of manual follow-up involved in it. What's oftentimes happening is an association is sending an email like this, and I have a few other versions of it. But basically what's happening is, a member or members are coming up for renewal, and you send them an email either out of your AMS, like a transactional email, or you send them an email out of Informs or Real Magnet or wherever else. And the template of it is basically standard. It's hey, your membership's coming up for renewal. Here's all the awesome stuff we don't want you to miss. Here's the 8 to 10 member benefits that are phenomenal that we provide. We want to make sure you still have access to these. Click here, renew your membership today. So here's a version of this, an old version from a client. Here's a series of other versions, ASA's version, a different version from ASA. As a member of a lot of associations, this is, oftentimes what I get. The inherent problem with these is a few things. One, you're presenting a call to action that is basically like, and a client said this to us one time, and I think it's an interesting analogy. You're presenting an option that is a home run versus giving them the ability to kind of hit a single. And what that means is kind of weird language, but what that means essentially is like you're asking for everything right now, but maybe the member doesn't have the time to do it right now. So they're going to blow past the email or snooze it and just keep snoozing it into eternity. You need to give them the ability to do something that's going to baby step their experience forward. So something that's going to say, hey, I'm not planning on renewing. I don't know if I'm going to renew. Yeah, I'm going to renew, and then allow the association to do some work to take you forward. The other challenges are this doesn't allow for any understanding of the intent of the member. So if a member clicks renew today and then they don't actually renew, or they open the email, oftentimes associations try to read the tea leaves of that and say, well, we know they're planning on renewing. They opened the email. opens don't really mean a whole heck of a lot these days. And at the same time, clicking that link really doesn't tell you anything definitive. What PropFuel does really effectively in this process is something like this. This is the first email in this client's campaign or with PropFuel. We're asking, are you planning to renew? Each one of these answers has a different path that it takes someone down. If I say, no, I'm not going to be renewing this year, it branches them to a question to say, why are you hesitating? And then if the option, for example, is I'm retiring, it's going to point them to tell them about the retirement membership package and how they can take advantage of that because they may not have known about it. So what this sequence also does really effectively, and this we'll get into this campaign, you'll be getting into this today. This is like a 5-part automated campaign. We're talking about things like, is now a better time to renew? 30 days later, what's holding you back is the third question here. Would you like to rejoin? Did you know your membership lapsed? What's interesting about those questions are that presents a lot of opportunity. The lapsed one, it's amazing how many members got maybe the 8 transactional emails, but didn't even know their membership had lapsed. So there's some really creative things that we can do with all this stuff. I got like 2 more minutes of stuff to talk about, but before I do, Robson team, are we pretty good with breakouts? Or are you kind of still pulling strings in the background?
Still pulling strings.
Okay.
If you haven't let us know, could you please let us know who you plan on targeting in your renewals workshop today, whether it be individuals or organizational members? Be great. I'd appreciate it.
This is like a comedy hour where you're on and you don't know how long your set is, and so you have to like keep going, but you're not sure if you should keep going, but you do. This is moderately stressful. Okay, what a lot of this allows our clients to do is make very informed or data-driven decisions. So like these are some of the results from that client campaign where I was showing you kind of the external steps within it. So they had an average click-through rate of 27%. And just for context sake, there's 2 numbers that you would look at in your existing email marketing system. You'd look at open rate. So their open rate was 61%. Open rate's kind of like this maybe red, yellow, green kind of like light. It's like a general indicator. It doesn't carry a lot of weight beyond that because of various other like technological changes and privacy settings and things like that. The thing that really matters that is closest to conversion is click-through rate. So the average association click-through rate is about 2 to 2.5% at best. So again, we got an average click-through rate of 27%. That's what we call response rate in PropFuel. And then the first one got a 38%. The other thing that's really interesting is we have at a campaign level, we have something called engagement rate. So this campaign had 5 steps. 56% of the members engaged with at least one step / question and email inside of this 5-step campaign. That's pretty astounding. Like most associations don't really have a data point around that they can compare that against. So it's a really new kind of innovative data point to be able to look at. But what I do know is that's a phenomenal number. Now, this then obviously had all the underlying data of like the answer data that allowed us to do different things. What's also unique about this is if you think about your current renewal process at your association, you get to a point where members are in kind of like this dormant or maybe getting close to a lapse stage. And you have to start doing all these really manual kind of off the grid things like phone calls and mailers and all sorts of different things like that. And oftentimes, if you're doing the phone calls or you're outsourcing them, you're just picking up the phone and saying, hey, you haven't renewed yet. We want to make sure we don't lose you. We love you. And what this allows you to do is call and say, hey, we know you're planning on, you told us you weren't planning on renewing. We know you're retiring. Congrats. That's awesome. Did you know we have a retirement package? Because we'd really still love for you to be a part of the organization. That's a completely different call and tone to that member than the generic, hey, we know you're planning on, we know you haven't renewed yet. So it gives a lot of insight for enriching all of those other steps, which is really powerful. All right, so just some housekeeping stuff about PropFuel. So we have about 40 or so integrations, integrations with all the primary AMS platforms, integrations with most of the different email marketing and marketing automation systems, other integrations like Association Analytics, their Acumen platform, Feather, a bunch of other platforms. So What I will say is our integrations, we call them connectors because they're not the typical association integrations where you say, yeah, we've integrated with that platform before, and you have to get someone from your tech team and the AMS together, and then then people go off for 6 weeks, and we have no idea what anyone's doing, and then 6 weeks later, out pops an integration. It's the polar opposite of that. It's point and click integrations that you can manage, set up, manage, and configure through our admin system. Takes a matter of minutes to do so. Full kind of visibility into what you're doing, not relying on developers who are doing stuff that you have no idea what they're doing and then how to manage it on an ongoing basis. So pretty cool what we're doing there. From a service standpoint, we have and this is actually really cool. This is something that we take a lot of pride in. So every one of our clients has a dedicated client success manager. And so you'll see here today, Melissa, Megan, and Ashley, and then we have another CSM starting in a couple of weeks. What's awesome is they've all worked at associations before for a bunch of years and in varied roles, from membership to field engagement to conferences and events to communications. So they pretty much know what it's like to be in your shoes. And that's really critical because, as we all know, associations operate a little bit differently. It's not a judgment statement, not better or worse, but just differently than other businesses. So that understanding is kind of baked into the way that they approach and work with clients. From a process standpoint, all of our clients get a fully managed onboarding. So basically what we do is we start off with a kickoff meeting. We are really focused on understanding the low-hanging fruit, high leverage use cases that we can start with a client. And basically, then we take those into a series of what we call live working sessions, where we'll start, and it'll be either weekly or biweekly, just depending on kind of a client's demand and schedule and such. But basically, the process and some of the goals around that are, we want to have your first campaign up and running within about 3 weeks or so, and it's very easy to do with how easy our integrations are to set up and the process that we have and some of the other tools that we have in the platform. Then we want to focus on deeper adoption, training, building out additional campaigns, analyzing them. And typically that whole process, that onboarding, lasts about 2.5 to 3 months. Again, we're not waiting 3 months to kick off our first campaign. That's happening within a matter of a couple of weeks, but then we're building additional campaigns and going from there. And then you have access to that client success manager ongoing for support, strategy, that sort of stuff, bouncing ideas off of. But most of our clients become pretty autonomous at that point. We do have something called managed services, which probably 15 to 20% of our clients leverage, where your client success manager is your full administrator of PropFuel. So they're doing all the work for you on an ongoing basis to build your campaigns, build out all the components of them, manage it, and do all of it to your guidance, run it by you, and then get the sign off to be able to launch it. So some of our clients use that. Oftentimes what happens is they'll use that when they're in a pinch. So like they'll have a staff person leave, and then it's like, hey, we need some help here. And it just makes sense to leverage PropFuel for that. So it just depends, but that's always an option as well. All right, Robson, how we doing?
Sorry, we're doing good. I think we're just about ready. It looks like there are going to be 2 rooms, organizations and individuals, run by Melissa and Meg. So yeah, if you're ready, I think I'm ready.
I'm ready. Hey, again, like I said, have fun, everyone. It's a really cool process. Like some of our prospective clients that have ultimately become clients, and even if they don't, doesn't frankly matter, like have gotten really cool results out of this. So like this is a really cool thing. So we hope you value it. We hope you carry it forward, and it's something that can be of value to your organization. So thanks so much. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. Robson, all yours.
Yeah, and with that, I'm opening up the rooms. For those of you who didn't respond, you're gonna hang back here and I'll put you in the correct. But here we go.
Enjoy, everyone.
So now we can get rolling. When you log into PropFuel, you're going to land on this insights page. This is going to be helpful once your campaign sends. Right now, it's not terribly exciting. You're then going to go to the campaigns page. I'm going to take you into this blueprint that we're running today. I ran it ahead of time so that we'd be ready to go. So I'm going to show you what this is going to look like from the back end, then show you what it's going to look like in your email inbox, what it'll actually look like to your members you're trying to get to renew. And then we're going to go build step by step. So there are 3 parts to a PropFuel check-in. There's the question and the response options. There's the workflow actions of what happens when someone expresses their intent to renew. And the third one is the email template. This is pretty different than what you might be used to in a traditional broadcast email tool, because in traditional broadcast email, you would send an email like Ryan was showing that has a bunch of links and information and then a button of renew now. In PropFuel, we're flipping this idea on its head, and instead it's going to feel more like a conversation. So imagine you picking up the phone and calling that member, but via email. So we're going to ask the question, which is an intent question of, are you planning to renew your membership? And based on how they respond, we are going to continue the conversation in a way that makes sense. So if someone says, yes, I'd like to renew now, we're going to say, that's great. And here's how you can renew your membership. And now you have that piece of data that that person plans to renew, which is going to very much help you in your outreach efforts moving forward. Because if they said, yes, I'm going to renew, great. You can talk to them and send them broadcast emails that speak to them as though they've said they're going to renew. Whereas if they say, yes, but I'm going to need more time, those are people you might want to nurture a little bit and find out what exactly is going on. Those are the people that it's worth giving the extra information to. By the way, we're also, if they say, yes, I want to renew now, we might just follow up with an email action to send them a little quick note that's going to look like an Outlook email. So it's going to try to get any questions or responses via an emailed response. So it makes it a little bit easier, reduces the friction for somebody to reach out if they did need anything. And if they said, no, I'm not renewing, that's important to know. You need to know if they're not going to renew their membership, because now you can find out why not. So we're going to automate asking, why are you not planning to renew? Then based on that response, we're going to automate a series of replies. So if they said they're retiring, we're going to say, congrats, that's amazing. You might want to stay a retiree member, or you might just give a little bit of information of, we're sad to see you go. Maybe you ask for referrals of people that might be more interested in continuing their membership, and see if there's anyone that they know within their network. Whereas if they left the field, you can just say peace out and not worry about really nurturing that relationship any further. They've left your industry. Whereas if they say that it's more just a function of time, we want to highlight how they're going to find value with remaining a member in the limited pockets of time that they do have available. So this is what it looks like on the back end. It's pretty clean and simple. And then here's the email template. It's going to be short and sweet. It's that time of year again. Your membership's ready for renewal. We're asking what your plans are with a nice little signature in there. You might pop in a headshot if you're feeling fancy. And then, so this is the email template that will house that question. Any initial questions before I show you what that actually will look like in somebody's inbox? No.
Is this, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this all like customizable?
Oh yeah, you can edit every single thing about it, but what's great is with these pre-built blueprints, you're just going to press a handful of buttons and then it's going to get you this far in like 30 seconds. And then all you have to do is tinker and edit.
And tweak. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I have a quick question
anything.
too.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to create the mapping of, depending on what they answer. So I guess, I don't know how many different flows you have, or journeys you have for one survey question, but yeah.
Oh yeah, so how many questions deep do you go? So this blueprint only goes one extra layer deep. If they say no, it's going to say why not. But you could decide to make it more complex. I'd say for the purposes of today and learning PropFuel and getting something potentially out the door, I would keep it simple. That's my guidance. It's actually a core value of ours here at PropFuel. Usually simpler is better. So you could decide to make it more complex, but generally that one layer deep is going to give you the information that you need. You could end up adding additional questions to that extra layer deep. And I would say over time, if you sign on to PropFuel, we have other blueprints that are more robust, where you're going to be asking and having a few different kinds of conversations that are a little bit more complex than this simple use case. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so let's go take a look at what this is going to look like on the front end. So here's that email. I showed you that email template, short and sweet. You can change anything about this, by the way, from the look and feel of it to the colors, all of that stuff. But it's a good place to at least get you started. So we're going to have a short prompt, keep it conversational, like what you might say to somebody if you were over the phone with them. And then we're going to ask this question. That's really the meat of the conversation. And you're asking the intent. Are you planning to renew? If they say yes, we're going to show that text that I showed you earlier. Oh, but it's blank. The reason it's blank is because I missed a step, which is to turn these workflows on. And it's actually perfect, because if you ever run into that and you're like, wait a minute, what did I do? I thought I planned this out. Turn on those workflows. They need to be turned on for them to actually fire or happen. I'm going to do the same for the nose here, or at least for a couple of these so that we can use it for an example. Anyway, let's go back to this. So if I say yes, I'm going to renew now. Now that I've turned it on, it's going to say, that's great. And it's going to give me that information. Everything about this page is customizable, but it's a good starting place for you. If they say, yes, but I need more time, we're going to give them a little bit more information about why they might want to consider staying. These will be AI generated, so you're probably going to want to tinker with those a little bit, but it'll all be built in with the prompting. And then if I say no, it's going to redirect me to a page that's going to say, why not? Now I can change the look and feel of this. I can even make the buttons all the same size if that drives you a little nuts that they're uneven. We can make them all consistent. So let's say I say I'm retiring. We're going to say, great, congrats on your retirement. Give them that information. I could remove this header text if I wanted. Whereas if I said no because I didn't use the benefits, for example, I'm going to get a slightly different response back. So all this, we're going to get built today. Any questions before we get rolling? And we're going to do this step by step together. No? Okay. Are we excited? Are we nervous? What's the general consensus here, guys?
Ready.
Excited. Mhm.
Love it. Love it. Cool. All right. I'm actually going to shrink this down a little bit, because what I did was I created a cheat sheet for you. If at some point you are feeling like the Model A+ student and want to jump ahead, you can't break anything. So go for it. Just follow the guidance on the left. Or if at some point you fall behind and you really, really don't want to confess it to me that you're a step behind, just follow the instructions here. So I'm going to ask everyone, log in to PropFuel, get to this Insights page. That should be where you landed by default. And then from there, we're going to go to the campaigns page. This should be pretty much blank for you. You should not see these already generated in your account. When you're there, you're going to press this blue New Campaign button. There's a set of blueprints on the left-hand side. Even though we're in this kind of like trial thing here, you've got all of these in here. So feel free after this workshop, if you're like snooping around going, I wonder what all of these things are, you could hover over this little eye for information and it'll tell you more about each of our blueprints. We're constantly adding to these. We actually have it to be a goal right now. Every month we're releasing new blueprints. So there are tons of pre-built campaigns ready for you. But for today, we're going to do a renewal blueprint. So if you click on renewal, which is about halfway down, scroll all the way down to the bottom of that section, we are looking for this blueprint. It's called Workshop Blueprint. Try to make it intuitive. Renewal check-in for individual members. And the reason that we broke out these two breakout rooms is the one for organizations and companies is actually kind of different. If you happen to be a hybrid association where you do both, you're welcome to pull the other one at another time. But today, for today's workshop, together in this room, we are going to focus on the individual members. Yes.
How'd you get the templates, the blueprints? I think I might be behind.
Yeah. So you're gonna go from the campaigns page to this blue new campaign button.
Yep.
And then on the left-hand side, there's create from blueprint.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
That's cool. Okay.
Hey, Melissa, it looks
Yeah.
like there might be a bit of a technical issue that they're working on in the background. So I will ping Robson right now and see what's going on and where they're at with it.
Cool.
I can follow along. It's pretty intuitive.
It should be intuitive, but I want you to have access to the, the blueprint. Okay. Thanks,
there
Lisa. I'm glad you're here.
Is there another way, like, to get to it?
We need you to have access to the blueprints. We could be building this from scratch, but now I'm bringing you to like black coffee at PropFuel land. Like building a whole thing from scratch, which we very much could do, but I'd rather you not have to do.
Is there another way to get to the blueprints? Like,
This would be the only way. I'm curious. I can stop sharing here. I'm curious if I can do some fun things in the background. See if I can get you guys up. Sorry. We're on this journey together, guys. Jen, remind me what's the your full association name?
the Advanced Practitioner Society of Hematology and Oncology.
What's interesting here is I've got two sets for you.
Oh, is that because of both me and Wendy? Since we're from
That
Advanced.
could be me. Yeah, could be. If it's easier just to delete mine, you know, I'm just following along now at this point anyway.
And Ramon, you don't have them either, huh? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, guys.
About Chris, do you see them, Chris?
Yes, I do.
I see them too.
Okay, so there's only a few that do not.
Yeah, I can't tell anything on the back end, like what's different about theirs because they haven't toggled on.
Now, when you said that you had two, did you mean like two of me or two of my association?
Two of your association with two of you, like one in each. So there's like a duplicate situation going on, but that shouldn't matter.
Okay,
I've got how many umpteen test accounts? Like
okay. Because I did, like, my login was like the old email, like before our association management company was acquired. So built my profile in here while I was listening to Mr. Graham, like Ryan, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I put in to my profile like my Connexion email.
Oh,
I don't know if that created another record, maybe.
I'm not sure. Hey Lisa, do you know if Robson's in the main room that we can maybe have folks
They're
go?
looking, yeah, I'm talking with him right now. It
Okay,
looks like
thank you.
they are actively working on it for you.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I sincerely apologize, but I'd love to move forward if we can, for those who can. And then Jen, Ramon, feel free to follow along, and I'm sure we can work out something so we can get you guys set up with blueprints and get you rocking and rolling.
Would you actually mind if you do not have access to put it into the chat, just so we know which ones do and which ones don't?
Smart. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. I've got too much going on. There we go. Okay, so let me get back to the campaign page. So for those of you who do have access, I sincerely apologize. This is a new one here. We're gonna click this blue shiny button to create new campaign. We are gonna look for the renewal blueprint, and we're gonna scroll down to workshop blueprint renewal check-in for individual members. You're gonna click it. This little pop-up should appear. And so you do need to fill in each one of these blanks. Feel free to do that along as I narrate what they are, just in case they're not intuitive. The campaign name is what you're gonna name the campaign internally. Doesn't really matter. You can always change it later. Just name it something. The sender name can either be a person or the membership team at an association, or it could just be your association name. It's kind of nice to have it come from a person. It feels more like a conversation. So that feels enough in your brand style. I would put a person's name, perhaps a membership director, a membership manager, a specialist, VP, whatever you want to do. The sender's job title should go here. And then the reply to email address is going to be the same as the send from. I would say generally it's most common for it to come from a membership at inbox, but if it's a communications at or info at, whatever you guys decide to do and where you generally have communications, where if someone does hit reply, it could actually get to someone on your team that could help them. Then the membership email address should be specifically more the membership inbox of sorts. If you don't have one because you're a one-man band, power to you, been there, just put in your email address or whatever one you'd like to use. The phone number does need to be filled out for the blueprint to run, but if you really don't want phone calls, just put in a placeholder in there of like 0000000. We can always delete it later. And then the link to renew does need to have this HTTPS in front of it. Any questions on filling this out? Chris is shaking his head no. Jen's shaking her head no. Okay. No? Cool. When you're done, you're going to click run. I can't because I didn't fill in the blanks, but it should be green once you start typing stuff in all of these. You will hit run. It's going to take a little bit, like 30 seconds to get rolling. And then in theory, it should roll through all of those prompts. But it sounds like the other room's having a hard time with their blueprints. So let me know if you're successful or if you run into an error screen that pops up and goes error.
Mine's looking good so far. It's going through the steps. Yeah, it's just kicking up speed now.
Cool. Yeah, the first couple of steps are always the longest. We put the AI prompting in there, and then it rolls through all the other actions. So it's hundreds of clicks that it's saving you by creating this thing for you.
Perfect. Now I've got the AI content advisement.
Good. So yes, once you finish and it finishes processing it, it should get that pop up like Chris got, which in highlighted text says, "This is AI content. Please review it." Don't upload a list and set it to live without actually looking at it and reviewing it and making sure you like it. That seems intuitive enough, but we have to say it.
Mine worked.
Awesome. Did anybody get an error screen? No. Ramon, I got the thumbs up. You should be good. Were you able to do it? Yeah. You might need to refresh your browser.
Okay, I logged out and I logged back in and now I see.
Yes.
And I was like doing screenshots and I somehow I missed which is it individual membership sequence that we clicked?
It should be called workshop. So workshop blueprint,
Oh,
renewal check-in for individual members. Yes. These are the more robust blueprints that I would use when you're a PropFuel client. You've got a connector rolling so it can automatically, dynamically get people out in between check-ins. For the purposes of today, we're going to keep it super simple and do the workshop version. So yep, fill out the blanks and you're going to land here. From here, you've seen all of this already. So hopefully we'll be like, oh wait, yeah, I think I remember that. Well, there are going to be 3 parts to a PropFuel check-in. It's always going to be the same 3 steps that you go through regardless of what blueprint and how many campaigns you ever build in PropFuel, how many check-ins you work on in PropFuel. The first step that we're going to take is we're going to click this pencil. That blue change button's so tempting. Don't press it. Press the pencil button so we can edit the question, not completely replace the entire question. And so here appears the question with the response options. Now, I had a fun conversation this morning with a client that went on a 10-minute discussion of whether an exclamation point was in their brand style. So if any of this doesn't feel like it's aligned with your brand style, if you are very not exclamation point people, that's okay. You can just change it. It's just a little text box, so you can change the response options to whatever you would like. I'm actually purposefully going to change mine because I want to show you what happens.
I'm going to add extra exclamation points.
I love that. I love that. Chris, you and I would get along great. You could copy and paste in emojis. Those do work. That might be on the other end of the spectrum of excitement energy, but you're welcome to edit these. You could add another response option if you felt like there was another reason you needed to give. Maybe there's maybe tell me more about my benefits. So you could add some extra options in here. I would stick to 3 if you feel daring and want to build a 4th one from scratch. Go for it, but I would keep it simple for today. When you're done making those edits, you don't need to worry about these bottom things. Go ahead and click save. When you've done that, if you've made any edits to those response options, you're going to get this red exclamation point, which is your signal of you've changed something. So we need to do something about it. So the 3 parts to a PropFuel check-in are the question and the response options. We just did that. Sure. The second one are the workflow actions, or what happens if someone says yes, what happens if someone says no. So I'm going to click this right-facing workflow arrow. I like to think of this as like, what happens next? They said yes, now what? So we get to here. If you've changed any of these, like I removed the exclamation point. I thought that was a really fun example from this morning, and I was just sipping my coffee and enjoying the conversation. It's going to say the option is not valid because I changed it. So in any of these, if you have one of these red alerts here, you are going to click on the selection equals with the one that it's below. And you'll notice this is not mapped. It's not mapped because I changed it. That option doesn't exist anymore. So I'm going to map it to what I want it to be, which in this case is the, yes, I'd like to renew now with the stern period. And then I'm going to save. So if you've changed any of your response options, feel free to take that step now to make sure that they're all mapped so there are no more scary red alerts happening on your right-hand side. Any questions so far? No. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go, I like to go in order, just makes life easier, from top to bottom, and we're going to update any of these workflow actions that are happening. So let's start up at the top. So if someone says, yes, I'd like to renew now, we are going to respond to them. That response lives on the show text on landing page. click it. This is gonna take some text with the blanks that you filled out. So this is gonna be that renewal link, and then this is gonna be the email address that you would put in there as your membership contact. And then this was my dummy phone number. I definitely don't want anyone calling me about their renewal. So you can make any text edits you would like to this. Usually it's pretty straightforward. We just want to say, yes, that's great. Here's how you renew. Let us know if you have questions, but this is just a text editor. You can change anything about it. I have someone that feels very strongly that words like renew need to be in green. We've got a lot of fun PropFuel clients. So you can change anything about it. This would be your text color. This would be bold. This would make this like header text. There's also another fun option that I'll bring up, and feel free to just start tuning me out at some point and just make the text edits. One other fun option that I love about PropFuel, and we're always coming up with new product ideas, and this was one we heard a lot from our clients, is like, I don't want to think, I just like this text is fine, but like maybe we just need something different. There's a magic wand throughout the platform. This is going to use AI to rewrite it completely. So let's say I hated this. This is terrible. I'm going to press the magic wand, and it's going to rewrite all that text for me. And I'm looking at it and going, I don't like love that one either. You can wave it again, wave it as many times as you would like. It will keep rewriting this text. When you're like, close enough, you can make your text edits.
Can you use the magic wand on just a section of the text? Like you want to change the first paragraph that you like the best, or does it do the whole thing?
It does the whole thing, but I love that suggestion, so I'm going to pass it along. What I've done in that case is I just kind of copy and paste this onto a Google Doc somewhere or a sticky note, and then keep doing it and then mix and match what I'd like. But that's a really good suggestion. I like that. So just make whatever text edits you would like. When you're done, click save. You can always update this later, so don't overthink it. Don't like feel like it's got to be perfect. Just make some text edits so you feel like it's in a good enough spot that you can feel confident with your day's work today. If you are reviewing it with your team members and you know they're going to have text edits, make what you need to, and then you can always come back in here. You can edit any workflow actions even after it sends. So let's say I actually am going to send this email today, and I decide later I want to add a new incentive that I'm going to offer if they renew by September 15th. I can just go in and add that text here, click save, and anyone that says yes moving forward gets that updated text. When you're done with that, click save and then go to the send email action. The purpose of this is to just be like, hey, thanks so much for letting us know. Here's the link if you haven't renewed yet. If you've done that, you can ignore this message. And then it reduces that friction. If someone does need help or has any questions, they can just click reply to that, because they're much more likely to click reply to this text looking email than they are any stylized looking email. There are magic wands in a couple of places here. One for the subject line. I love those. I just, I want to get some ideas for subject lines, and it'll even put in emojis. How fun. Unless that's not in your brand style. No, emoji is no exclamation points. And then you can wave the magic wand on this template text as well. It's putting in a smiley face. It did not get the memo. But you can feel free to refresh this. If you are signing on as a PropFuel client, something I would also mention here is you can update your AI assistant so that it better reflects your tone, so that every time you're pulling a blueprint, generating new suggestions, it's going to be that much closer to the tenor and tone that you want and need. Say for today, I don't know that it's worth the detour, but I'm happy to show anybody afterwards if you'd like to see the AI preference center. When you're done, you can go ahead and click save. And then let me know when everyone's done updating their show text on landing page and their send email action for this first block of responses, the yes, I'd like to renew now. Thumbs up, down. Question. Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks, Ramon. I love that Zoom's updated them so they like bounce. There we go. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Guhar. Anyone else? Okay. Thanks, Jen. Wendy, Adrianique, Mary, we're feeling good?
Yep, I'm just following along.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. So let's move to the next one. This should be pretty easy because you've already updated text. So if they say yes, but I need more time, and this is a good place for the like, maybe tell me more, or yes, I need more time. This is the I need a little bit more context before I commit to you response. So we're going to give a text response. What is done here is there's some AI prompting to come up with some of the member benefits that you have. Feel free to tinker with these. They are never perfect, but from what I hear, they're generally pretty okay from a lot of association clients. Although if you just have your acronym in there and we didn't put the full name, maybe it like ChatGPT mixed you up with someone else, since there's so many associations out there. So feel free to tinker with this. You can always come back and edit. So if you feel like it's going to take you an hour to edit this, I would say just make a couple quick edits and then save. You can always come back in. Also a good place to wave the magic wand if you wanted. That's a much shorter response. And also a handy tip here, if I'm like, wait a minute, I actually really like the version before, I should not have waved the wand. Just click cancel and go back. It'll default to wherever the last place you saved. It's like a video game, like find a save point, come back. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Are we feeling up for moving on? Because this is like the one spot you can get tripped up and I don't want to leave any behind. Good? Thanks, Mary. Cool. Okay. So the set of workflows for no, what it's saying here is if they say no, I'm not renewing this year, or whatever no response you have, we're going to redirect to another question and get them out of the campaign. Less relevant in this case because there's only one check-in, but anyway. We're going to click, there's a little square with a diagonal arrow up that's at the very end of this line. So it's right here. We're going to click on that square with the diagonal arrow and it's going to pop open a new tab that has the no question behind it. I'm not moving on until I know that everyone's clicked that. Good. Okay. I always lose people there. They're like, where was the square? Anyway, so now we get to rinse and repeat. So the first thing, I love the floating thumbs up. First thing we're going to do is edit the question. So we're going to click the little pencil. And the question here is, why are you not planning to renew your membership? You can very easily rephrase this a million ways. It could be what's holding you back from renewing, or why don't you plan to continue with your ABCD membership? Whatever you would like to do here, we're just going to try to get to the why not question. There are response options here. You are not locked into these. You can change anything about it. So for cost, I tend to change cost because cost is, it could be almost anything. So it could be my employer's not paying for it this year, and that's a totally different cost than I can't afford it, which is also different from I'm not seeing the value to justify it to my employer, which is different from I don't see the value to justify it for myself. It could be that you add a response option of I don't need to renew my certificate anymore, and that's why I'm not continuing my membership. So any of these you can edit. They're just text boxes. You can just edit the text. You could add a response option. You can't drag and drop, unfortunately, but you can just cut and move things around. So you can add a couple options, copy, paste, move things around as you'd like, delete whatever you're not going to use. And then the follow-up question here, I love this. This is the best part about it in my mind, is you're going to get the qualitative behind the quantitative. So someone might say time and then tell us more. And you can say, you know, I'm going on a sabbatical for a year. I'm going to be totally unplugged. So I really love the membership. I just can't justify keeping it this year. You're going to get all the explanation behind it. So I would definitely leave that in there. I love an open-ended tell us more as the question, but you could change that too. Is there any additional details you would like to share about why you're not renewing your membership? So you can be as formal or as casual as you would like. Some of these other response options here, I would leave this as yes, require response. We want them to answer. The display style will leave as buttons, but in theory, you could do a drop down if you created way too many options that someone couldn't actually read. The landing page button variable width, if you remember when I clicked no over here, these buttons were all different sizes. I don't know about you, but sometimes it tweaks me out and I just need it to be exactly the same. That would be here. So instead of variable width, you can choose full width for the buttons, and then it makes them all the same. And then randomize each options. It defaults to no, but if you feel strongly that you want them to be shuffled for every person so that you don't always have the same thing at the top, you can choose yes. And then click save. Everyone feeling good? Any questions? Cool. Then we are going to click this right facing workflow arrow. This is what happens next when someone responds. It's going to be the exact same thing we just did with workflows on the last tab, which is if you change these response options, maybe instead of cost, you put I can't afford it, whatever these different things are. If there's a red alert, just choose it and map it to the place that's closest to whichever response or the response option you needed to change it to. And then click save until you get all the red alerts gone. And then I'm going to give us like 5 minutes or so, go through each one of these show text on landing pages. You're going to click on each one, make your text edits, click save, move to the next one, make your text edits and click save. My handy trick is if you're like, I'm not reviewing this at this time, Melissa, like, good luck, I'm not doing that. I just like to highlight what I do plan to fix. So you can choose the little A and highlight, and then I can say, oh, I got to run these 2 bullets by my supervisor. So I'm going to run those by her or him, or I'm going to change those later, but now at least I know what I'm supposed to be doing. There's also a notes field in PropFuel. I'll end up showing you towards the end. So if you wanted to make notes for yourself of what you did do, what you still need to do, that's a really handy place before you log off for the day, just keeping track of what is left.
How can we personalize the email that's going out?
Yes. So we're going to work on the email template next. That's our third and final stop of updating a check-in. But I love your question. I want to use it here. So I'm going to twist your question a little bit. There are multiple places where you can use a personalization token, like first name or your member ID or your member type. All of those are going to be behind this little driver's license. That's going to let you add in their contact name, for example, or some other piece of data, like perhaps their expiration date. We can stick that in. So that way you can personalize these check-ins. Just know that if you create something as a personalization field, you're going to need to have that as a column in your spreadsheet so that we can actually import the data in. And then I'll show you there's actually a different button in email templates for personalization. One other thing I want to mention in that, we can add to this list of fields So like I've got first name in here, but you might not have added first name. I will show you how to add that personalization token towards the end. So that way you can add whichever personalization field you want.
Thank you.
So feel free to take a couple of minutes, make some text edits, click save. I like to use turning these on as my check of like, I've worked on this, check, I've worked on that, check. These do need to be on, so toggled from inactive to active to work when you send yourself a test. Otherwise, it's going to happen what happened to me, where it's just a blank screen. I don't want you to panic. All of these are the same, just show text on landing page. I often have clients when they meet with me, they like, yeah, Melissa, we'll edit the text later, but I want you to feel comfortable. Just, it's a WYSIWYG editor, make the edits you would like. This action is different. So if they fill in this text response that tell us more, you could choose to have different things happen. One of these options is to send yourself an alert. This would be you sending yourself or someone on your team a very obnoxious red email that goes, alert, somebody's trying to talk to you. And it'll have the question, the answer, the person's name that answered, and their email address. So in this case, it would be Melissa Bittner at melissa@propfuel.com, answered why you're not planning to renew with this open text answer. So we'd give you everything you need if you felt like you needed to reply back to people one-on-one. If you're like, yeah, that's nice, I'm not doing that, you could just delete it. You could click this little cancel button, just get rid of it. If you're like, oh, that sounds really cool. If they say they're retiring, I want to add an alert because I'm going to respond to those people one-on-one and nudge them along to get a retired membership. You could add an action to send an alert. Choose your name from here, or you can type in a new email address like cs@propfuel.com and add it. So it doesn't have to be you, it can be some other person. And then if you needed any guiding text in here, usually we just leave this blank because it's got what you need. There are other actions that can occur, and this is just a fraction of them. So you could add them to other campaigns. If you're a PropFuel client doing more stuff with us, you could add or remove contact tags. Those tend to be great for segmentation. Again, if you're doing more than just this in PropFuel. You could redirect them to another question. That's what this action is. Redirect them to URL. So maybe instead of doing a show text on landing page about the benefits of retiree membership, you just bring them to the retiree membership page instead. You could definitely do that. You could also do a send email action. Create a conversation would be internal into PropFuel. That's great if you're using PropFuel quite a bit. Maybe not for you guys. And then if you were a PropFuel client, there would be other options here that would be teal buttons, and those would be writing back to your AMS or writing back to your marketing database. So that way you can further segmentation. You could keep track of why someone's not renewing in your AMS. Most of the connectors have some sort of write back abilities, and that tends to be super, super, super valuable. Any questions? Otherwise, I'm happy to give everybody a couple minutes if they need time to just edit. Chris, did you have a question?
No. I'm
Oh,
good.
okay. Like a good look of like intent thought. So. Jen, Jennifer, Ramon, any questions? Because I know you guys are building.
No question. I'm loving this.
Yay! I love that you love it.
Are we going to be able to send the test? Because I put.
Oh yeah, I won't let you go till you send yourself a test. So to make sure that test works, make sure you turn on all of these workflows so you don't end up with the sad page like I did.
Okay, thank you.
You'll notice there's a magic wand here. If you didn't have all this pre-built, you can wave the wand and it would pre-build some of the structure for you. Tends to be pretty helpful. You can also wave those magic wands even when you've got nothing there. So let's say you added an extra response option. You're like, oh, I don't have anything for this. That's okay. Just wave the wand. It'll make stuff up for you. And what's kind of cool about PropFuel is you're getting obviously a platform that does a lot of cool stuff, but you also get a dedicated client success manager. So you can meet with either me or one of our other team members. That's your person, and you always know you can go to that person if you need anything, have a meeting, talk strategy via email, have a second set of eyes to look at your campaigns. It's just nice to have that extra buddy alongside you. So it's not a support at PropFuel. Good luck getting a response within 48 hours. You have an assigned person and you build a relationship with that person, and that's nice. Okay. We're feeling good. Do we want to move on? Do you need another minute? Okay. We had a couple people hop off. So the third piece, so there's 3 parts to a PropFuel check-in. There's the question and the response options. We've done that. The workflow actions, we've done that now for both sets. The full email check-in as well as the no responses. Good job, guys. The third piece are the templates. So this is where you might have noticed if I say, let's just say time, for example. There's this header on top that says thank you. So you can see this is the one I highlighted. It says thank you for letting us know. It's like floating out in outer space over here. So if there's something like you want to make this background white, you want to get rid of this header, that is on a thank you page template. You can go to the gear icon at the top right corner, templates, and edit the thank you page template. I know for me, I do not like these headers, and I really don't like the gray. So I can change that. I can click on the sample landing page text. This is where that response will go. This lives. And maybe I might want to make it bigger, or maybe I want to make it blue. You can change almost anything about it. It even says there, if you have an action configured, it's going to show here. It'll look exactly in that same font as that. And when you're ready, you can click save. And because this is for demo purposes and it's fun, I've changed the background, you'll notice, from gray to white, the text from black to blue, and I got rid of that header. So if I go back to my test, I don't even need to send myself a new one. I can just click refresh, and now it's a white background with blue text, and I got rid of that header. And it's very, very big. Made it bigger. Hi, Brittany.
Hi. How's it going?
I think it's going well. How's it going, guys? How are we doing?
Great.
How are we feeling?
Doing great.
Cool. We're talking about templates. So when you've made your edits to that thank you page template, usually I just say remove that header out and click save. And now the only last thing we need to really go back and do is go back to that email campaign and update the email template. Now, I know that it's over hanging out here in my other tab because that's always how it defaults. If you have that in bed, it's going to pop it open in a new tab, and I can just go back to this tab over here. But you could always, if you're over here, go to campaigns, and then you're looking for that email channel campaign, and you can click on that. Doesn't matter. And then at the top right corner, you're going to click the gear icon, go to templates, and edit this email template. You can change anything about this. This is just a text box. You can put whatever you would like in here. I would just say, consider this is an opener to a conversation. So what would you say to a member if you happen to get on the phone with them and you wanted to remind them, like, hey, your membership is due for renewal. Wanted to check in, see what your plans are. Doesn't need to be overly complicated. Keep it to 2 to 3 sentences. 4 is okay. 5's pushing it. Any more than that is too low. And then down here is your signature. You can edit anything about it. So just consider these text boxes, edit them as appropriate. So you could make this, I don't know, just going wacky. You could make it green. You could make it bigger. You could, since we talked about personalization, this is a great place for it. In the email template, it lives as this S bracket. So I could say contact name. It's that time of year again. So I could add it. Your membership is due for renewal and will expire on, perhaps I use the personalization date of their expiration date. You can change the look and feel about any of this. If I don't want that gray background, you can get rid of that. I can change the buttons. Maybe I want pink. Why not? Totally in my brand style. And then on the right-hand side, you can update the sender name, the reply to email, and then this is the subject line. It should automatically generate with your organization's name. If you don't like it, wave the wand. Essentially what this is replacing is, instead of giving them a long email about their member benefits and stuff, this is the, hey, I'm checking in. What are your plans to renew? Keep it short. And when you're done, click save. Any questions? Mary says no. I know you're following along, Mary. How's everyone else doing?
Great.
Ready for me to move on? Need a few minutes? All right. Again, you can always reference on the right-hand side. I think I've got them cut off a little bit. There we go. If you're like, I'm not telling you that I'm behind, it's okay. Just follow the directions. And then, so we've done our 3 parts to a PropFuel check-in. We've edited the question and the response options. We've edited the workflow actions. What happens if someone says yes? What happens if someone says no? We've turned these on so that they actually work. You might want to check that. They're all should be turned on. And then we've gone into the gear icon templates and edited this email. This really, really great complementary set of colors. You can change it to look however you'd like. If you'd like to replace the logo that we swiped off the internet somewhere for you, you can click on image and then click these 3 little levers, replace that image. I would upload the image at 600 pixels or less because certain versions of Outlook don't care that you've taken the time to resize it over here. It's just going to ignore all the coding anyway. And then when you're done, you can click save. And now we're ready to test. This is the exciting part. So you can click the gear icon and send yourself a test email. Test emails are only good for 12 hours. So if you send it today and you go back into it tomorrow and wonder why it's not working, send yourself a new test. You will have access to PropFuel for quite a bit for this little trial. So it's okay if you have to come back to it tomorrow, but send yourself a test now. It's fun to look at. So you'll just click send. If you need to send it to more than one person, they don't need PropFuel access to be a tester. Just put a comma and then that other email address and then click send. And you will get an email in your inbox that should look something like this, but modified to whatever changes you made. And then I'll give you a couple minutes to have fun and press the buttons and go, look, I did it. I clicked yes, and this appeared. I'm going to put you guys on the spot and you can say no. Is there anyone that feels proud enough of what they've put together that they want to share their screen? It's okay if you don't want Jen's laughing at me. She's like, no way. I offer.
I didn't really send much, but I mean, I didn't really change much, but I can share my screen.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? You've been staring at mine this whole time.
Not. Give me a moment. I have like a million tabs open.
See what you got.
Yeah. Can you see it?
I can. Look at that nice branding. We tried to like align your colors ahead of time, especially if you had signed up ahead of time, make everything look a little closer. So feel free to click a response option.
I want to renew now. I wish everybody could click on that.
You're right. So I still see your Outlook email. Sometimes when you share a screen, you only pick one application to share.
Okay.
I feel like that might be happening. I got real excited. I wanted to see it. Now, I can tell from that email template, that's one of like the default views of where it's got a header of like, here's your association name check-in. And then below that, there's a, would you mind answering a quick question for us? You can edit anything about that. So if you'd rather it look more like what I've got going on, where there's some like a little prompt ahead of time with like, hi, first name, I wanted to check in about your renewal. You're welcome to do that. You can leave it as is, whatever you like to do. But this is great.
I had added the contact information, but it didn't populate because I don't have a list in there probably. So
you had edited the information. Tell me where.
Right here, like, hello, doctor. And then I put contact.
Oh, okay. Do you mind sharing your PropFuel screen? We're going to troubleshoot here.
Sure.
It's my favorite part. This is also the benefit of sharing your screen, is I can give you the one-on-one help.
Oh, everything froze up for me.
And if you'd rather I demo it, I can hop into your guys' accounts and demo it. If you would rather, like, I don't want to present it, but you're welcome to look at it, I'm happy to share my screen and walk through.
So Jen has been sending me demos and I love it. She's done a great job.
Gold star, Jen. Good job.
Thanks. I mean, I didn't get to edit it really too much, you know. Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yay. That's the point here. This hopefully is fun, enjoyable, and then it's even more fun when people start renewing. You can be like, oh wait, that worked. Oh, okay. Now I get it now. That's the most fun part. This does really work in a way that's going to be complementary to your existing broadcast campaign, or maybe you modify off because you're doing a couple PropFuel check-ins, but that's the goal here. PropFuel check-ins really, really do work. They're a perfect complement for lapsed member win-back, new member onboarding, member acquisition, conference campaigns. We're going to be doing a client roundtable. We do a get together with our clients in a couple of weeks on non-dues revenue, so sponsorships, exhibitors, donors, all of that, all the other kinds of people besides regular members about their membership, conversations you could be having to deepen the relationship, get that further.
Great.
Sorry.
All right. So, Yennefer, did we want to troubleshoot that, or are you still stuck?
Yeah, I'm still stuck.
Do you want me to hop in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ain't have not. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, remind me of the association. I'm so sorry.
Aspect, ASPET.
And I'm so sorry.
American Society for Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics. We should shorten that name, but I think it's been 110 years. I don't think they'll go with. I want to shorten that.
I keep putting in Aspen because it's one of our clients. It's Aspect, and that's where I keep getting tripped up for you. I apologize. Here, I'm going to share my screen. There we go, and move our faces out of the way so that you don't have it blocking. So I've got this as your campaign, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the check-in. So here's the email template. So it looks like, because it's showing the reply to email as support@PropFuel, what might have happened is you click change template at some point because it removed that email template.
Okay.
There are lots of ways around that. I would say it's just going to be easier for you to like, I'll pop the language in chat and you could just paste it in here. And then these are the workflow actions. So yes, I'd like to renew now. I like that. Hello, Dr. Dave. There we go. So here's the set of workflows that I'm seeing. Does that look different than what you were thinking?
Yeah, I probably didn't save it. I went happy-go-lucky with the wand.
Sorry. You do need to click save.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then if someone says, no, I'm not renewing, let me close out all this stuff. I love this. Financial constraints, time constraints. I love the changes you've made. Changes in career, lack of professional development. And you've got them mapped perfectly. You've got an alert going. Good job. This is great. Beautiful. So yeah, I think that's my only advice is just make sure you save in between. And then I'm going to go into my version here and just pop in chat the language that's in that email template so that you don't need to rewrite it. I'll keep the personalization thing of expire on this. Does anyone else have any other questions? Otherwise, I actually wanted to talk about personalization fields because that would be a good opportunity if you wanted to add prefix last name. If you're working in the medical field, that tends to be common, or first name is a separate personalization field. I think that would be a good detour at this point. Not really detour, it's just a stop along the way. So that is going to live under settings, advanced, and fields. This is where you can add any fields that you would like. Just when you upload a spreadsheet, which we're going to talk about next, you're going to just have a column that will map there. So you can create a field called maybe prefix for the doctor, or Mr., Miss, or whatever. It's going to be type, so you're going to choose text unless it's date or phone number. Then I would choose that. Click save. That personalization default value is if you don't have that person's, in this case, prefix, what do you want there? So maybe I want to put doctor because most of them are doctors. And then you can do that as many times as you want. So if I want last name, I'm going to keep it as a text type, and I could leave that blank if I wanted. You can do one for first name, and then you could do valued member if you're going to keep it a little bit more professional. If it's more casual, I like there, so that it's hello there or hi there. Doesn't work for every circumstance, but it's nice. So that's all you would need to do to add those personalization tokens. Add them here under settings, advanced, and fields. And then you could go back to your check-in and add them in. So gear icon, templates, edit that email template. I'm going to replace this contact name with prefix dot last name. Maybe hello. And then save. This is, I teased it, so I feel like I have to also mention it. Also under settings, advanced is your AI assistant. So you can customize this. so that your AI prompting is a little bit closer every time you're doing things. This is also the place you're going to play around if you have not yet authenticated your domain. I would go in here and authenticate that domain in here. That way your email send from your organization rather than sending from support@propfuel.com. It's okay if it sends from ours, it'll still send and it'll say your name via and PropFuel. But if you want to authenticate your domain, if you have any questions about that, usually if you add it, no, not in that, just that, you can go to authentication, copy this, send this to your IT team. We would have sent you the instructions ahead of time in case you wanted to do it. You can copy this, get the info over to them. If you have any questions about that, you can actually a few options. First, you can click this help and it's going to give you a help article of probably anything you ever need to know about it. Second option is you can talk to Poppy down here in the bottom corner. You can talk to her about anything PropFuel any time of day. So if it's 2 a.m. and you're so excited about your PropFuel check-in, you can go talk to Poppy. I will be asleep. And then the third option would be to just reach out to our team. We'll be happy to help you get set up with stuff. Get your check-in ready to go and out the door. The only thing I haven't really talked about is getting it live. So I'm going to take like 2-3 minutes and talk through that here. And then, hey, Robson. And then if you have any other questions, I'm happy to hang on for as long as you guys would like to answer any questions, go into things deeper in PropFuel, answer bigger client question things. I joined PropFuel over 3 years ago as the first client success manager. So I've been here a while, happy to answer any questions that you guys have. So I'm going to go over each of these tabs. The history tab is where you're going to see your results. This is really exciting when your PropFuel check-in sends. You'll be able to see the delivery rate, the bounce rate, the response rate, the engagement rate, the breakdown of how everyone's responding. This is just my test data. And if you click view responses, you can actually see the person by person. So you can see that I sent myself a test and responded at 2:27. I could reply back to myself if I really wanted to. And that would be like a one-on-one Outlook looking email, but coming from PropFuel. Really cool feature if you're hanging on to PropFuel for a while. This enrolled contacts tab is where you're going to upload a spreadsheet. This is really, really intuitive, but you're going to select the file. You're going to follow the prompts. If you are using personalization fields, make sure you map those under the custom fields area. That tends to be the difference. There's a system field section at the top and custom fields on the bottom. Also a great thing if you need to ask Poppy, you can ask her, how do I upload a spreadsheet? Or Lisa and someone on our team will be able to help with that too. If you're like, I've got this ready to go and we actually want to send it, definitely check in with them. But truly, most people find this process so intuitive. They're like, I did it. That's it. That's it. It just needs to be a CSV file with a header row. And this sounds silly saying, but I have to say it anyway. It has to have email addresses. Can't send emails unless we don't have email addresses in the spreadsheet. This settings tab is the perfect place. I would recommend that you all go in there right now, click the little pencil, add notes to yourself. If I did this, I still need to do that. I need to check with so-and-so before I can send this out. Put yourself a little note and then press this green check mark to save. That way you remember if you come back into this tomorrow or next week, what's left for you to do. You could add tags. I added myself a tag so I can keep myself organized. This sending window is what time of day it's going to send. So you can choose the sending window that you would like and click the green check mark. It usually sends on the front end of this, so that tends to be helpful. If you end up choosing, let's say today, and it's past this time window, it's going to send immediately. So if you feel strongly about setting it out for a future date, choose the send time that you would like. The rest of these you don't really need to go into today. And then in the design tab, you can pick your send date. So if I want to send this tomorrow, and click tomorrow and click confirm. And then the only other step would be turning this from draft to live. And that would be through this campaign status going from draft to live. You'll just need to do the no part first. Otherwise, you will get this alert. that says the campaign is check and embed actions. The point to a draft campaign, which sounds really confusing. It just basically means the no needs to get turned on first. So I'll set this to go live. And then I can turn the email one live. But those are the last steps. You upload your contacts, you verify the sending window, verify the sending date, go from draft to live, wipe your hands, watch it go. What other questions can I answer? Nothing? Any questions about PropFuel in general? Anything you'd like to know? Mary? Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say you did such a great job, and it's a fun program. So I'm gonna take the and have my director. He's going to be excited about it. So hopefully we'll be talking to you in the future. I'm going to pop out for another meeting now, but thank you again for, letting me come in so late. And I really, really enjoyed the presentation.
Good. Thanks, Mary. Good to see you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Anyone else? Any questions, things? Otherwise, I'm happy to give you guys 15 minutes back in your day. Tell your boss you were here the whole 15 minutes. Give yourself a little break. Go for a walk. Get a coffee.
Will you be sharing? We do individual membership now, but we are talking about doing group memberships for institutional group memberships. Will you be sharing the recordings from the other? Oh my God, room right now?
We certainly can. I would say it's literally like any blueprint you run ever in PropFuel, you've now done all the steps. You're gonna edit the question. First you're gonna choose the blueprint. You're gonna fill in the blanks. You're gonna click run. You're gonna edit the question. You're gonna edit the workflow actions. You're gonna edit the email template. You're gonna send yourself a test. You're gonna upload a list. You're gonna get it out the door. So it's gonna be the same thing over and over and over again, but you're welcome to if you'd like to look on the other blueprint.
No, I just thought, I just thought it would, if it was something different, I would like to have the recording.
That one is a little, I will say the company one's a little bit more complex. There's a few extra questions based on how people respond. So for example, the biggest difference is in any company/organization blueprint, we're going to have I'm not the right contact anymore. So that you can say, oh, okay, you're not the primary contact anymore. Who is the right new primary contact? And then get an alert to yourself to know who that person is.
Okay, perfect.
Really important for group memberships.
I have to hop on to another meeting. However, I want to say thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Good. Yay. Thanks so much for joining.
Emails. So I hope they really enjoy it too and get back to me and tell me this is a great way to do a renewal. So I'm hoping I took advantage of it and sent it to everybody and senior staff.
Nice. You can always go back into, we're not going to lock you out of PropFuel today. You can go back in tomorrow or next week or whatever, send yourself new test emails. I will say, like, it's fun to do and it's like, oh, it looks nice. The reason people keep PropFuel is because it actually legitimately works. It will get people to renew faster. It's going to give you insights you can't get through a broadcast email. You don't know why they're clicking renew now. You don't know if they're gonna renew now or not, or why they haven't clicked the button yet. So it really does work. It drives results. And I would say, and I'm not just like tooting your horn on our own horn on this. There are some people that'll do like a lapsed member win back check-in, a single check-in, and it more than pays for their entire year's worth of PropFuel. So like an hour of their time and it's just done. And now you can focus on the fun things like onboarding or a retention campaign or profile update campaigns and updating people's profiles. So there's lots of value to it. I'm glad you're having fun and I'm glad it's like cool, but I promise you, like, it's actually like, it's going to grab everyone's attention because it will work.
I believe you. Thank you, everybody. It was nice meeting you all. My camera still is not working.
Good to meet you.
Do you know how long we'll have access to our accounts?
3 days.
You'll have access until I believe October 10th, like roughly a month from now.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
just enough time. I know you said you got to run it by somebody, get their approval,
Yeah.
get it out the door, see that it works, and then continue the conversation from there.
Well, thank you so much for your help. It was great.
Of course. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for laughing at my bad jokes.
I'm right with you. Bye.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, guys. Take care. Let us know if you need anything. We're here. Happy to help.
Will
Thank
do. Bye-bye.
Bye.